Let's see. Is YouTube working? What about Kick? Uh-oh. Oh, there it goes. Okay. We almost made it on time today. Keyword almost. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh no. Okay. Join us. I guess we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, that'll work. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. Well, I guess that's close enough. We'll just get it going. We'll just get it going. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just hop into it. I've had so much going on recently. I wish I could be a little more prepared than I have been recently. That's my fault, I guess, in a way. But we'll roll with it. We'll just have to deal with the cards we're dealt. I guess that is truer now than ever. Let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. Well, close enough. So today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. This is episode number 67 of Addressing the Issues. I guess it's time for everybody to make their elementary school jokes. This is your one opportunity on an episode, I guess, until 100 later. Oh, I guess we'll be getting those jokes in 2 episodes from now as well. But yeah, I guess we'll start off with, I guess, more local U.S.-centric news than we're used to covering. I guess more typical. It's been untypical recently, unusual. But we'll hop right into it. So there was a number of primaries yesterday. A couple of note were Texas, the Senate Democratic primary, which was won by James Talrico, defeating Jasmine Crockett, who looked to jump over from the House to the Senate. Looks like she will be looking for a new career. The political one has not paid off for her. But in her speech last night, I guess what she thought was going to be her victory speech, she claimed that Republicans had rigged the Democrat primary against her. She claimed it was racist. and she said that the election was fraudulent. Maybe if she was elected senator, she would support the SAVE Act. I highly doubt that. But if you want to not have fraudulent elections, there's a pretty simple answer. Require voter ID. She'd be against voter ID, yet she wants to claim that elections are cheated upon. She was cheated out of the Senate primary in Texas. The guy who won is honestly he's a little iffy. Made some strange claims in the past on the campaign trail. He argues that, God is non-binary. Our border should be like our front porch. People should be greeted with a welcome mat. That's quite alarming for a Texas senator to have that opinion, but this is the modern era of Democrat politics. You've got non-binary God, and a welcome mat on the border. But then there's also some more interesting elections, particularly in Texas. Texas is where you could probably, extrapolate the most data from what these primaries have been. You have Steve Toth, who defeated Dan Crenshaw in the Texas District 2 primary. I haven't noticed much of a difference in their policy on a broader sense. I know Dan Crenshaw was not the most liked. He was a little crazy, in my opinion, threatening to kill conservative commentators. Quite alarming for a politician, I would argue. And he was defeated by Steve Toth. Like I said, he doesn't seem much different. I mean, it's basically just Dan Crenshaw with both of his eyes. But besides that, policy-wise, I think it's going to be more of the same. But I guess they didn't like him as a person. Didn't like his attitude towards things, and they decided, you know what, we'll pick somebody else. And I think that's, rather interesting. It seems like, if you just don't like a candidate, you don't like their policy, you don't like what they're doing, you can just vote them out in the primary. I mean, what a novel idea. There's also a couple of elections in Texas that are going to come down to a runoff vote, namely the District 23 Republican primary with Brandon Herrera and Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez has an interesting past with his staffers. I like Brandon Herrera. I don't know exactly how well he would do as a politician, as a representative. I do like him. I like his pro-Second Amendment stance. I think he's, a good dude, good guy. There's also the Texas Senate Republican primary, which will also go to a runoff with John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. That's going to be an important one. John Cornyn isn't the staunchest of conservatives. It can only get better with Ken Paxton. He's not the, most conservative guy you'll ever meet, but it's better than John Cornyn. So there's that. Those are the most notable ones. Another notable feature of the Texas election is that Democrats outvoted Republicans in the primaries, meaning more Democrats showed up to the primaries than Republicans in Texas. This is really alarming, given the electoral college that Texas has, the amount of electoral votes that they are allotted. If this, is a trend continuing in the 2028, there'd be no way that a Republican could be elected president without winning Texas. I mean, that's just the way it is. Democrats have New York, California, and Texas. I mean, that's like half the road to victory right there. They just have to not fumble Democrat strongholds, which rarely happens, especially with all the built-in rigging. But I'd say those are the most notable elections, most notable features of the elections. Most alarming facts. I mean, the fact that Democrats are outvoting Republicans in Texas is not a good sign for things to come. And it shows how disgruntled conservative voters are currently with the way things are going. I mean, I want to say this is rock bottom and it's only up from here, but I know that's just not the case. I'm almost 100% sure things will get worse before they get better. Now you could say, oh, they have to. They don't have to. But enthusiasm from voters, Republican voters, is seemingly at an all-time low. I guess not an all-time low, but in recent history, a low in recent history for sure. And I mean, the Democrats are putting up a more formidable candidate than Jasmine Crockett in the Senate race with James Tallarico. He is more formidable. He's more likable as a person. He's craftier. He's smarter. He's just an all-around better candidate. And if Texas starts voting blue, I mean, just in 2026 in the Senate election, I mean, every alarm, bell, whistle needs to start blowing that the Republicans have gone the wrong way. There's no way that things turn out well in 2028 if you have Texas going blue. It's just a fact. But like I've said before, or I guess I maybe have never said it before on the stream, the most important thing for you to do right now is to get out into those primaries, is to vote for somebody who represents you, represents your needs. Go against the establishment, because the establishment is going to lose Texas. That's just, the trend right now. The trend is showing that establishment conservatism is going to lose Texas. People are tired of funding wars. People are tired of just the lack of effort, lack of discipline, lack of care from conservatives in the establishment. And I'm not saying, turn the system on its head, but turn the votes over. We shouldn't have these lifelong politicians running policy, determining who's allowed into the in group and who's not. That's why we are here right now. That's why we continue to go to wars and strange places. This is the neocon conservative base that just, maybe they're having their last laugh with Iran. I can't imagine. But it's the same thing over and over and over again, and people are tired of it. And it's going to cause us to lose possibly even the Senate, more than likely the House, come this November. Going into 2028, if things aren't turned around by then, you don't have people conservatives standing up for the conservative cause, conservative voters. They're not going to show up. They're just not. Or if they do show up, they're going to vote for Democrats. And I don't even want to begin to imagine what happens after Trump and a radical Democrat gets elected. I don't want to imagine, because I know it would be bad. Not just bad for voters, bad economically, bad for our nation as a whole, security-wise, bad for the Constitution in a broader sense. But this is where the trend's going. It is your civic duty to get out and vote. I advocate for you to, not just vote for the person who's been in there. Say, oh, they have experience. What's your experience? Is it good? Have they fought for you, or have they fought for themselves, their money, their interest, special interest? What are they doing for you? And if you can't answer that, it's just best, to vote for somebody else that's primarying them. Look where incumbents have got us, and consider that they never change their ways. And where will they get us into the future? I guess we'll leave it at that. But, make sure you go out to the primaries this year and you voice your vote for people who are going to represent you, and not just because they've been there. Don't vote because they've been there and they don't represent you. Vote for somebody who you at least have a sense will, or this whole thing is going to fall apart. But we'll move on. Make sure you guys are voting in the primaries. That's probably the most important part of an election going forward. Because the establishment wants these same people to come in over and over and over again. And they have the same, basically the same policy on both sides of the aisle. So you need to get people in that are different. They think about you as a constituent as opposed to you as a dollar sign. We'll move on, I guess, to a small continuation of our NATO story yesterday. So NATO shot down a missile bound for Turkey out of Iran today. Or maybe it was yesterday. In the last 24 hours, we'll put it at that. It really makes you wonder. This is an attack on a NATO nation. We have seen no unified NATO response. So is a attack on one an attack on all anymore? Is it? These are things to consider when you think about NATO. If NATO can't even get defense from Europe in regards to Iran. If Turkey can't get defense in that sense, I mean, what are they going to do if the U.S. is attacked? I mean, they're going to sit there thumbing their nose. Like, what are you going to do about it? That is the state of NATO. It's a non-functioning alliance, an alliance that historically the U.S. has paid the majority of, done, I mean, essentially all the heavy lifting. And then when, an attack happens on European soil, I guess, is Turkey in Europe? I guess not. I guess it is in technically the Middle East. I mean, let's verify this. So technically, I guess it's in the Middle East. It is still east of the Caucasus, though, so I guess we can qualify that as Europe, just the furthest extremist part of Europe. But if you're not willing to defend Turkey as an attack on one, attack on all, you're not going to come over to the U.S. and do it. If, let's say, Norway got invaded, is everybody going to come to Norway's defense? I don't know. But if you are engaged in an alliance like this, you would expect, given how much you pay to be part of NATO through military spending, you would expect, at least some loyalty from everybody else. Not that it's just you versus the world. You expect your allies to be your allies. But I just thought this missile attack was telling, given by NATO definition, all these countries should be jumping in to help with the Iran situation, given Iran has attacked a NATO member. Yet nobody else is jumping in. Germany's considering it. I believe France is considering it as well. Heard nothing from nuclear-armed United Kingdom. Spain's not going to help. Spain might be the worst of, the entire alliance. Just allowing a refugee crisis into Europe and facilitating it on such a high level. But it's a defunct alliance. It doesn't work how it's supposed to. And yet somehow we still foot the bill for all these countries. It's another great use of our tax dollars. We'll leave it at that. Figured today would be a good day 5 of the Iran war, to talk a little bit about the economic fallout that is possible from this war, who the benefactors will be at the end, because you've got to consider that it doesn't look like it's going to be quick. Looks like this is going to be drawn out. It'll probably be approved by Congress. At least seemingly it will be. But I think it'd be good to have at least some idea of what this is going to mean into the future, especially given a prolonged war. What's going to be the price of this to the U.S.? Oh man, hold on. I'll be right back. Let's see. Is this thing working? Are we back? Okay, YouTube's back. Rumble seems to be back. Kick seems to be back. Okay. Then let's get back into it. What is going to be the price of this war? Beyond human lives, what is going to be the economic fallout, as I'll call it, from going to war in Iran? Well, immediately, we've seen it evidenced the last couple of days. It's evidenced once again today. The price per barrel of oil, it's going to continue to skyrocket. It's up 2.09% as of right now for today. Up 20.26% within the month. This war's been going on 5 days. Oil's already up 20%. With the continuing blockage of the Strait of Hormuz, it's not going to magically go down. And we're not going to see magically oil production skyrocket with new oil fields in other places in the world. That'll take time, that'll take money in and of itself, probably likely driving up the price in the short term while they attempt to fund projects such as new oil wells, finding new oil reserves, installing equipment to extract oil. But there are a couple other, resources that oil is used to produce, namely hydrocarbons, plastic. I know we seemingly have no shortage of plastic on Earth. You walk down any street and you can see it on every street corner and all along the sidewalk. Imagine we lose access to plastic. You can't package goods the same way. You have to invest in all new packaging facilities, packaging materials, packaging processes. Plastic, is a staple of human civilization currently. With all the bad it does, it is something that's probably all around you right now. You're probably watching this on a phone with plastic components, in a car with plastic components, at home on a TV with plastic components. You go into your fridge, your tomatoes are in a plastic container, your grapes are in a plastic container, your turkey for sandwiches is in a plastic container, your bread is in a plastic container. Imagine the price of plastic goes up to where it is more economic to completely redo everything. Stored in cardboard, paper. It changes your life. It'll change the price of everything. Just plastic is rather cheap to produce. And currently is readily available. But that's going to be another thing that's going to be hit by this, is plastic. Oil, plastic, everything that oil is used for. Transportation of food. Your food isn't grown out behind your Publix, out behind your Kroger, out behind your Walmart. No, it's grown on a farm where it is then driven probably to a distribution center, cleaning facility, sorting facility, and then it's driven to where you purchase it. You want to add, as of today, 20% more onto the transportation bill. Imagine it goes up 100%. The price of oil doubles in a year. What is going to be the price of food for your table, dinner? Well, it's going to be substantially higher. We often talk about, getting food prices down, affordability, household staples. All of these going up just because of oil being blocked in the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil supply. 20%. I mean, it's absolutely baffling how many knock-on effects this is going to have just by blocking the Strait of Hormuz, raising the price of oil. It was claimed that the U.S. would be providing insurance for companies in the Strait of Hormuz because regular insurance brokers for naval transportation won't do it. They find it too dangerous. Imagine some of these ships start getting hit and we're making payouts for insurance on these products from the taxpayer. Taxpayer will be funding the difference on this insurance so that companies will be able to ship foods, oil, in and out, just everyday things. And the knock-on effect goes to you, the consumer, you, the taxpayer. Another thought I've had with this whole Iran war is just how advantageous it is for all of our sworn enemies around the world. You've got China. This is the main one I can think of. Truly our only near adversary currently. But they're taking advantage of us. I mean, at home and abroad. Namely, Mexico and Canada, where these fentanyl precursors are shipped in, creating fentanyl, shipping them across our borders in a new era opioid crisis. I mean, this is like opioid wars, the retribution, and along with not only fentanyl but just dangerous research chemicals, things that are kind of like a drug, but they're not labeled as a drug because they've changed, one thing here, one thing there, replaced hydrogen with lithium. I mean, just small changes like that, and it gets through legally as a research chemical. I guess, they think like Xanax, which is one molecule off, can just be used as like paint. Maybe it's just drywall. I mean, I don't know what we think with this whole allowing research chemicals in the way we do. It's drugs with the same intended effect, just a molecule or so off, have the same effect, are unregulated, just as dangerous, and they just, come through our borders by the bucket load, come through by the box. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous stuff. China's taking advantage of us at home, but they're also getting rich selling equipment to Iran. They're not giving it away for free like the U.S. always does. They're using this time to create friends around the world, namely Africa, through the Belt and Road Initiative. Doing the same thing in Asia. They are doing the same thing in South America and Central America. A whole bunch of Chinese ports making these basically countries in a way dependent. I guess more realistically, making these countries slaves to China, making them repay debt, and then through this debt, China establishes infrastructure, closer ties, and the U.S. can't fight back against this right now, given the U.S. is occupied in Iran for the time being. But on an operational level, on a military level, China's just watching this. They're learning how the current U.S. military's doctrine operates, what gets struck first, what will be struck after, what are the weak points. But they're just watching, taking notes, learning how they're going to invade Taiwan, learning how they're going to likely take over most of the Eastern Hemisphere, including South Korea, including Japan, probably islands in the region, Philippines, Indonesia, how they're going to solidify their hemisphere under their rule. And we're distracted. We're caught up with Iran. And they're just game planning. They're like, well, how's the U.S. respond when Iran does this? Well, we can take advantage of that by doing this. So, I mean, they're probably over there just cheesing, laughing at us because we are so dumb as to get involved in this war. But we're distracted from our true adversary right now. It's not Iran. They have no means of attacking us. Wouldn't in the foreseeable future. But, I guess we had to go over there and preemptively do regime change or something. And there's a whole nother level of the economic asymmetry in this war. You have Iran making these one-way attack drones. They're ranging $20,000 to $50,000 depending on capabilities, payload, things of this nature. So they're spending, it's about the price of a car, I guess you could say. Well, used to be the price of a car to what a car is today. How about that? That's a little bit closer to what it is. $20,000 to $50,000 on one of these. They make about 500 of these a day. The U.S., on the other hand, is spending $3 to $4 million per interceptor missile on the low end. These would be Patriot systems. And $12 to $15 million per interceptor missile for the THAAD system. So we're burning through money and supplies at a much faster rate because you don't just launch one at it. You send multiple in case the first one misses. So, I mean, you could estimate we're probably launching, $20 million. That it's probably a fair average estimate at one of these. At the top end, $50,000 one-way attack drones. Somebody's money's getting drained out a lot faster than the others. And while we may have more economic power than Iran, this isn't a good expenditure of money, a wise use of money. I mean, I guess for Iran it is. On our end, I mean, the asymmetry in budgets per one of these is, 200 times? 200 times the difference? Something like that. Let me say 20 million divided by, let's go 50,000. Okay, 40. No, that's wrong. Oh, goodness. It's 400. That's stellar. 400 times the difference that we spend to stop one of these than they use to build them. I mean, that's just the best use of my taxpayer money I can think of, honestly. And then it goes further to the Gulf countries that are being attacked because they are loosely aligned with U.S. and Israel. you got to consider that if something happens to these Gulf countries, namely ones in the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, particularly in lines of food or water, necessities for populations, these countries, would realistically turn to China. If their desalination plants are struck, there's reports that water would run out between a week or 2 weeks, and a desert has no water to drink. Do you think they're going to be happy with the U.S. with no water to drink out in the desert? Probably not. So then we'd be, shipping in water on boats into these contested territories within the range of these missiles. And there's also food. These countries import a lot of their food. It's hard to grow food in a desert. If you stop the supply of food, 3 weeks until people starve? They're not going to be happy with us. So if, water gets cut off, food gets cut off, these countries do have reason to move to China, or move their ideology towards China, their alliance. And then that has enormous downstream effects. Imagine that these countries stop using US dollars to trade oil. They use yuan. Well, what happens after that? The petrodollar dries up. Meaning, without backing from oil, after we took our dollar away from gold backing it with oil, we have nothing to offer of value. I guess we could back it with AI. When the power turns off because we can't afford the electric bill, the AI is useless now. Guess we could just export our coding people, engineers, software engineers abroad, and hope for remissions back home, but I don't think that's a good idea. So if you remove the value behind the petrodollar, it goes over to the yuan. U.S. gets massive inflation and a recession of, epic proportion. And I don't mean to be a doomer, but this is a rather valid concern given the recent nature of our alliance. It's rather recent that we have had cooperation from all these Gulf countries. And there are obviously incentives to fall into the arms of China, given if we can't give them the water resources that they need, desalination plants, food, ensure that they have access to these things, they'll look for somebody who can ensure it. And the country that sticks out the most to me is China, especially given that Russia is tied up in Ukraine. It's much more likely that, they'll be like, hey, China, can you ensure that we'll have food and water? And they'll say, yes. And then they're allied with China. And then the U.S. is, no control over the Middle East whatsoever. It's the, entire reason for the Gulf Cooperation Council, so the U.S. does have friends in the Middle East. I don't know. It is a doomer scenario, absolute black pill. But it is a realistic possibility here, realistic possibility in these situations. I hope it doesn't turn out that way. But I mean, anything can happen these days, it seems. You can have the new war president start a forever war on a whim, likely for another country. But before we wrap up for today, I guess let's see. Crude oil price. What's going on with that? Still up 2%. See how our markets are doing. Oh, we're up 0.5% today. That's awesome. What else did I want to check? I wanted to see, I meant to do this earlier. China's even being hit in the stock market. Interesting. Price of oil has a lot to do with everything. I mean, literally everything. Let's see. Oh, I saw another thing. Gas prices are up over a year ago. I mean, crazy. What is that? I guess 16 cents ish. Up 16 cents over a year ago. Oh my goodness. Drill, baby, drill. I guess we'll end today's show with an anecdote for what's going on here. An anecdote that I thought of. It kind of explains this whole situation. It's a little comedic, a little sad. But it goes something like this. So you've got you're living in a house. You've got two neighbors. It's a good neighborhood for the most part. Got a big yard. Pretty nice house. Your neighbors are all right. One of them tries to sell your kids drugs. But ever since you put a fence up, that's not really much of a problem anymore. The other neighbor, they're a little strange. Their kids sometimes come over and they say, we're here because our parents like the kids they adopted more than they like us. So it's a little weird, but you have a nice house, you have a big yard. But you do have a problem. There's a short in your house. There's a short in the electronics and the wiring. You've been putting it off for a while. You know it's there, but you've put it off. And all of a sudden, you're sitting in your living room, and you notice there's smoke. The wall's turning black. Now there's fire. There's fire coming out from the other side of the wall. But you get a call from your friend. You call him your friend. You've got issues. Your friend's done some things to you. He's slapped your kid before. He's keyed your car. He asked you to go out for dinner, but you always have to pay. He asks you to go out. You're the one that has to pay the bill. But he's got a problem. He likes setting fires himself. He's got a known history for being an arson. But he calls you up and you answer. And he goes, I have a problem with one of my neighbors. He lives, it's not a nice neighborhood. He thinks the people look different. He thinks they talk a little bit funny. But he's going to go and he's going to burn one of his neighbor's houses. And you're on the phone with him. And he's like, well, now you're implicated, so you need to come join me. And you're like, I don't know, man. You've keyed my car already. You've hit one of my kids. But you decide, because you would be implicated, and he convinces you, since it wouldn't be his first time, he'd be going to jail for a long time for doing this again. So you go over there, you drive over there, you pick him up, you drive him down the street to his friend's house. Not his friend's house, his neighbor's house. And you go over there, and you help him light it on fire. And now you're implicated in the crime, but because, he didn't do it himself, it takes a little bit of the heat off of him. But he's done this before. He's done this many a times. But you've forgotten that your house is on fire. Your house is on fire at home from a problem that you've been putting off for a couple of years, not really thinking about it. But you decided, instead of solving my problem, my house is on fire. You've decided that you're going to go help him burn down somebody else's house. Maybe you see the parallel here. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But we've got problems here. Our house is on fire. Yet we've been convinced by our friend bad actor to go help him burn down his neighbor's house because he doesn't like him. He does it time and time again. This is the situation the U.S. is in right now. Our house is on fire. Our country's invaded. And we decide, the solution to this isn't to address our problem, which is our house is on fire. Our solution is to help our buddy who has a history of doing bad, evil actions, to go help him out, maybe get some of the pressure off of his back for doing it. This is the situation the U.S. is in. And it's, maybe you can, I added a few details in there so you understand who's who in this situation. But it's truly what's going on. What's going on right now? Our house is on fire. Our solution is to help our friend burn down his neighbor's house in a different neighborhood. I mean, it doesn't get much more frustrating than this right now. It's pure negligence, pure stupidity is why we're doing these actions. It's laziness on our end. We didn't fix the short in our house. I guess to get our mind off of things at home, all of our problems at home, we decide to go do bad things to other people. Because I guess it's better than fixing the problems at your house. I mean, I'll leave you with that. It's a little bit of food for thought. It's not perfect by any means, but it's pretty darn accurate. It's pretty darn accurate as to what's going on. It's unfortunate. But that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. I guess we'll wrap it up here. Make sure you guys are dropping a like on YouTube and Rumble. Subscribing on YouTube, following on Rumble, following on Kick. If you want to subscribe on Rumble, I'd appreciate it. Be my guest. Helps me out, helps keep the show going. I'm trying to think through these next, I don't even know how many hours. Because at least right now, I'm expecting to be busy this weekend. So, at least over the weekend, I won't be streaming. Now, I don't know if tomorrow I'll be leaving for work. I don't know if that'll be Friday morning. So there's a chance there's a stream tomorrow. There's even a chance there's a stream Friday. Just given my current work schedule, the unknowns, there could be a stream Friday. There might not be because I'll be at work. So there's that. So maybe, the next time you might hear from me is Monday. I've just got to figure out, hopefully tonight, whether it says we're connected. Okay, there it goes. We're back. I can't believe it just randomly cut like that. Internet's bugging. That's not good. Just more things to fix. Can't get the camera to work right. Can't get the internet to work right. It is what it is. Where was I? Okay, so yeah, don't really know the schedule through the next couple of days. Turn on the notifications. That'd be the best way to get notified and know whether I am going live or not. Hopefully I can get up and going at 4:45 sometimes. Like today, more and more stuff just keeps coming in. And I am so behind. They are able to sneak so many things by us right now, given just the nature of how big of a story this Iran war is. So much stuff is being snuck under the radar. There's the Project Artichoke thing that I've been wanting to talk about. Epstein files, release of the Bohemian Grove list, overlaps there. Just so much that they're able to sneak by right now that I don't want to lie to you guys. I never seek to do that. That's an interesting headline. Yeah, there's so much going on. A building exploded in New Jersey today. Seems to be like a CBD company. It's not as big of a story as the explosion in Tennessee a while back, which was, I believe, roughly 40% of the manufacture of U.S. specialty explosives, something of the sort like that. CBD isn't as big of news as that, but still, an explosion in a U.S. city is alarming. I didn't have time to look through that. It just happened. But I think we covered the most relevant stories today. Is there anything else we need to touch on? I talked about going into the weekend. I think we'll leave it there. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. There's a possibility I won't be back till Monday. But, it is what it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys are dropping a like. To all my people on the East Coast, hope you get home safe. To my people further west, hope you get home safe as well. Or finish up your workday strong, get home safe as well. I'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully I'll be able to continue to give you analysis on the most pressing issues going into the future, but I appreciate you guys for sticking around even through all the technical difficulties today. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you, I guess, when I talk to you.